So we've just had the Summer Game Fest, and as per usual, that means I want to share my favourite games from each of the showcases. So what I'm going to do this year is pick my favourite game from each individual showcase, going back to the PlayStation showcase that happened a couple of weeks ago, all the way up to the Ubisoft showcase from this past Monday. And then I'm going to gush incoherently about my favourite game from Summer Game Fest as a whole. A couple notes before we get into things: there are a load of indie showcases, as usual. I didn't catch all of them, so some will be unaccounted for. And then there's a lot of cross-pollination of games from showcase to showcase, so I kind of mix things up in order to keep my gimmick alive of one game per showcase. But that doesn't really matter at the end of the day, so let's get started. Unlike the past few years, I didn't end up with a long list of games from the Future Game Show. My favourite part was actually just watching Laura Bailey and Yuri Lowenthal being their typically lovable selves as this year's hosts. So my pick is a carryover from last year. Laysara Summit Kingdom is a city builder, and what makes it unique is that you build your city on the side of a mountain, and so you have the creativity that comes with the nuances of that vertical design, while also dealing with the environmental threats like avalanches and rockfalls. Amidst the Wholesome Direct's usual fare of cat and farming games was Snufkin Melody of Moominvalley, another game that I first saw last year. Snufkin is based on the literary world created by Finn Tove Jansson. While it's not a world I'm familiar with, the charm and art style of this melodic adventure have definitely piqued my interest. Let's Revolution is described as a mashup of a roguelite with Minesweeper, featuring a roster of different characters to choose from with an array of different abilities. You enter into maze-like puzzles where you have to leverage the information provided from the blocks alongside you in order to plan your way forward strategically. I'm surprised that I haven't seen more games inspired by Minesweeper's design, and it looks like Let's Revolution has found a fun way of doing just that. Since Assassin's Creed mixed up its formula for Origins back in 2018, fans like me have been hoping for a return to the classic formula that made us love the franchise in the first place. Ubisoft seem to have actually taken heed of our yearnings and are giving us Mirage, a return to the classic format of stealth and parkour in smaller, more compressed and dense historical cities. Something I've been asking for years. If you were to ask me what my perfect game would be, I would say a semi-open world puzzle adventure game. Islands of Insight isn't that. But what it is a shared world puzzle adventure game. With interesting traversal, which is always a tick in my book, you enter into this open world to solve puzzles either by yourself or with the people in the world around you. I don't know how that's going to work exactly, but this is 100% my type of game.
Embark on the path of discovery and let your curiosity guide you through a world of wonders, where the answer is always in sight.
I don't know what Insomniac feed their animators, but they just keep on being exceptional. Marvel's Spider-Man 2 arrives later this year, and we got a good long look at the game, including Peter in his symbiote suit, new stealth and combat moves, a long, multifaceted chase sequence, the ability to switch between Peter and Miles almost on the fly, but my favorite part was definitely seeing how my favorite traversal system in gaming has somehow been upgraded.
Genki, the lizard's loose at the fish market.
Must be sushi night.
You still got that hunter drone you hijacked?
Been really tough hiding it from my mom, but yeah, I'll boot up and see you there.
This is a bit of a cheat since this did form part of the Xbox showcase, but this game is unreal. I'll be fascinated to see, Todd, if this one just works. Because for Bethesda's first game following Fallout 76 to have sprawling massive cities, deep role-playing mechanics, intricate customization of the player character and their ships in a galaxy with over 1,000 planets to explore, I don't know, man. If it works, it'll be incredible. It's just, will it work? The previous time we saw Starfield, I wasn't convinced because there was quite a bit of jank. This showing was 100 times better. I'm still not won over by the glassy-eyed characters, but I do think that they properly showed the potential that Starfield has to be absolutely extraordinary.
World premiere.
A spacefaring game that I'm more excited for, however, is Star Wars Outlaws. For ages, we've wanted a bounty hunting, outlawing Star Wars game. We've seen the cancellation of 1313, of Project Ragtag, but will Ubisoft Massive finally give us this particular brand of Star Wars experience that we've been wanting? I certainly hope so. It looks fantastic. The characters look great. The gameplay we've seen looks fun. Yes to all of it.
So, where do we go next?
Anywhere we want.
The last game we got from Remedy Entertainment was Control. I adored that game. And apart from being a great game in its own right, it also started to set up the connections for a Remedy connected universe, with its final DLC properly connecting it to Alan Wake. Alan Wake came out in 2010 and followed the story of a writer whose story took on a terrifying life of its own. Now, 13 years later, Alan Wake 2 finally follows on from where the original took off. Featuring two protagonists, FBI agent Saga Anderson arrives in Bright Falls to uncover the weird and dark goings-on, while Alan Wake struggles against the supernatural forces of darkness that have populated his nightmares. And who knows what the Federal Bureau of Control might be up to at the same time.
We were all trapped in a horror story. The horror story wanted us dead. There's something I'm forgetting. Something important. Something's not right!
I almost wanted to make a What I'm Hyped For video just for the Talos principle too. I recently just replayed the original following the announcement, and honestly I would have been happy if Talos 2 looked and worked precisely how its predecessor did back in 2014. But it looks so good! And of course there's a graphical jump, but I reiterate, it looks so good. Anyways, the Talos Principle is a philosophical puzzle game. It deals with philosophy in that you play as a robot, but in order to get administrative access, you have to prove that you are human. And so a lot of the game asks, what makes a human human? And that's all mixed in between these brilliantly designed puzzles. Throughout the game, you get so many different puzzle mechanics, from jammers to laser connectors to fans to recording stations. And then you look at the Talos principle too. It looks mind-melting. There's now a portal-looking device. I know. Calm down. You get the bridge tractor beam-looking things. You get magnetized surfaces that you can walk on. We're going to be solving puzzles upside down, sideways, at angles. It looks like we might meet other robots. There are animals? This game is now on my personal Game of the Year watch. It just looks so much better than I had hoped.
Because the thing about puzzles is that they can be solved.
We're still here at the scene of this terrible disaster, caused by a massive tornado which swept through sectors 0, 1, and 2. Amidst the wreckage of the expressway, search and rescue operations are already in progress.
The latest look at Final Fantasy VII Rebirth had me yelling, "What?" at the TV screen. Spoilers for Remake incoming. This is not a safe, spoiler-free zone for the next couple minutes. So we know after the end of Remake that we are in uncharted territory right now. So even just the implication that everyone's favorite long-haired one-winged villain would kill one of the most beloved video game characters of all time is wild. If they actually do that, that would be the boldest decision I've ever seen a dev team make. But we also know that everyone is messing with us. Sephiroth, he's in Cloud's head. He's going to be messing with him all game. The devs, they've set a precedent. Who knows how they could mess with us? Cloud's memories? Where's he at mentally? If Tifa's dead, then who is she? But you know what? It's fine. Because in between being messed around with by unreliable narrators all over the place, we have a gorgeous, expansive world to explore. The lighting, the color palette, it's all top tier. If you've been having your head messed with, just hop on a chocobo, take a look at the sunset. Get into a fight with some monsters and do a duo takedown with Red 13. Take a quiet moment to chat with Aerith. Because one thing's for sure, there's no universe in Final Fantasy VII in which Aerith dies.
You murdered my dad! You burned my village!
You know that I killed her. So, who is she?
And those are my favorite games from Summer Game Fest 2023. A couple extra shoutouts. I want to give a shout out to City Skylines 2, which looks amazing. And another one of my favorite games shown off at the Xbox showcase was Clockwork Revolution.
If you alter our past, if you threaten what I have built, there is nowhere in space or time where I will not destroy you.
Well, that's it for 2023. Thanks for watching.